Hello everyone, and welcome to Invest, talk about investing, finance, professional development. For today's video items only. The investment on top of today will be NEO, ticker NIO. With respect to NEO, some records of 11:18 a.m. on an Eastern time, current trade like the $39.21 level, down about 9.22% so far. With respect to sell-off that we're currently experiencing right now, is really cultivating around the media affectation that stem from the meeting that we have experienced recently between the officials from China and the US officials, right, on discussing the economical outlook and the relationship between the two countries going forward. And based on the meeting, the sentiment and the adjective that a lot of media companies use describing the relationship as, and I quote, an adjective called stalemate, right? So obviously it's the negative connotation. It's definitely depicting that the relationship between U.S. and China is turning sour, and they're not really feeling some type of way, if you may, between the two relationships, right? And with respect to the cultivation, it's also being supplemented by the recent action that the Chinese government has done on a lot of Chinese stocks, right? With respect to the for-profit educational companies and respect to recent shutdown with Didi, which is like the Chinese Uber that being shut down, also subsequently postponed their IPO in the U.S. stock exchange, and also with respect to just China, I think in the recent time frame, a couple of weeks ago, they have specifically said that despite the company either operating in China or operating overseas, whatever Chinese company, they will be enforcing some regulatory or compliance pressures going forward. Try to be like the international police, if you may, right? And obviously, with that type of affectation, further, drive some tension around, U.S. Government officials versus the Chinese government officials at the same time, because just that lack of alignment on their proposition for two countries, growth prospects going forward, right? So I'm gonna go to a technical analysis, knowing the fact that the sell-off is relatively, substantive. We're down about 9.41% right now, and I just spoke for like about 5 minutes so far. It seems like we're going down to the resistance level of the 3850 that we've identified previously. So I'm gonna go revisit the charts again to see how we're trending going forward, and see what level should we be dollar cost averaging at, or are we gonna see more selling pressure? Alright, so moving on to the technical analysis for NEO, ticker NIO. I'm recording us off at 11:27 a.m. on Eastern time, current trend like the $39.29 level, down about 9% so far. Let's just take a look at the resistance frames real quick, shall we? So in the technical analysis perspective, you could see that we broke through that $43.50 level, which was a level of identification of resistance that we've identified previously in the technical analysis. Because of the negative news that we have cultivated between US and China, we broke through that. And the news was so negative that we basically broke through a couple of non-substantive resistance level. First is the 4250, right? And then subsequently the 4050, right? Which is a level of, a flat number consolidation, but not really a substantive one. We also broke through the next level of the 3950. We basically at the 3920 right now. But the level of 3920 is not really a substantive level, right? The real level is more lower down below. It's kind of hard to see, smaller, that we should be leaping down to the 3850, which is a level of consolidation that we've had here, historically. If you look at like historical charts real quick, right? So I think we have a high propensity to actually leap down a little bit further, and I think we almost touched there at 3904. Kind of do like a recuperations, because like we did break below the 40, so people start buying back up. But how substantive is that level? Not really that substantive, right? I think 3850 is more substantive. But it's more like a dollar difference, right? So if you want to buy now, and I actually plan on doing so, I have my buying order around like 38. Or when we hit like anywhere below 39, or like 38.75, I'll start buying in, right? Because that's a really attractive level for a long-term buy proposition. And if you look at MACD right now, we have crossed up for a relatively long time right now, and our side we are highly oversold right now, very very oversold. So do we see like anywhere below 3850? I think no, because like that would be really way below the ground, right? And we don't ever like go below the Earth crust, right? We either bounce off the Earth crust or we kind of hover around there, right? So where I see going forward is the 3850 would be potentially the bottom. Do we see 30 or 34, 70, 78 or anywhere below 35? I would say the likelihood would be very, very low. I'll give that maybe 10% likelihood that we'll actually get there. And I think, the news that we're currently experiencing right now between US and China, it's been percolating for such a long time now. So now it's kind of like a sudden balloon pop. It's mainly driven by the hype of media affectation rather than actually anything substantive. I think the word stalemate is something that media company quotes, but it's not something that they have specifically said themselves, right? So however they want to spin it is however they want to think, right? Or it's the freedom of speech ultimately, right? But if you know about investments, you think about that logically. Is China gonna just like go to war with U.S. or is U.S. gonna go to war with China? Both countries are relatively powerful countries, right? And we need a lot of Chinese exports and imports for us to sustain that international relationship going forward, right? A lot of companies will be out of business if we don't have the Chinese relationship that we have been cultivating for a long time, right? But it's just because of the fact that China is restrict a little bit more compliance pressure across all the tech companies that has been cultivated in recent years and recent decades so far, right? So try to enforce the international police can definitely drive some raise the eyebrow type of affectations for the U.S. officials, right? So I think they just have some disagreements, not like a full blown argument at the moment, but obviously, they're gonna try to treat this situation amicably and try to deal with this respectfully at the same time. Going to war is the last resort, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to slowly resolve itself. They're going to come into a conclusion. I don't think they're going to stand ground that substantially or that restrictively, if you may, going forward. And I think today will be just a dip for us, right? And I think I will be buying this dip, knowing the fact that that's the level of logical investments, right? We're not buying this based on the emotions of fear. We're just applying pressure based on what we see in front of the chart. And I think the chart makes sense. RSI is depleted. MACD is about to cross up. So I'm going to buy at the 30, anywhere below $39 level today. All right, just to recap on numbers and the technical analysis. Again, the 39.50, if you buy for a long term, I think that's totally a fair number. But a more ideal level based on the technical analysis would be like 38.50. But again, it's like a dollar difference, right? So why not just buy now and hold it for a long term, knowing the fact that this is a relatively opportune dip, for us investors, and it's a logical play. Do we see 34.50? I think absolutely no in the near term, especially not today. I think we'll have probably like a 0.01% chance we'll get to 34.50 today, but I think there might be a 15% chance if we have more negative pressure coming, right? Us, the media affectation try to spin this out of proportion going forward to drive more fear among U.S. and China going forward. So that's something we have to be aware of, right? That could be the next level if we reach that 38.50, right? Or anywhere below 38, we'll go down to 34.50. That's just the level of the next leap down, right? Respect to the next 12 months, $85, 115% upside, 2.2 times your money from here. All right, so that's it for today. Respect my technical analysis on NEO ticket NIO. I know this is a scary time for a lot of people, but apply logics and apply common sense and use the technical analysis to formalize your executions for price, dollar cost averaging methodology going forward, right? And I think today is a relatively good opportunity for you to buy the dip. Obviously, the cultivation between U.S. and China, based on the meeting yesterday, is something that is a meeting, right? It's not like a confirm they go into a war type of statement, right? It's just basically something they have to work through, right? And they are at a mid of maybe a disagreement, not like a full-blown argument. And I think we need to be patient and wait this out, right? And buy the dip right now and dollar cost averaging at these levels. And I think it's a logical play right now. And I think as we speak right now, we're breaching that $98 level right now. So I think what we're talking about based on the technical analysis that we've talked about so far is coming true in front of our eyes right now. So I'm going to go ahead and buy after I finish this video. But appreciate you guys for dropping by and stay tuned for next coming up. Take care. Bye.